It was a small, shady, smoky room, filled with the smoke of burned glasses and also old ambitions. Every day he walked in carrying something new, sometimes a box of wires and filaments made from different materials. And always there was a light in his eyes which refused to dim, no matter how many bulbs died in his hands. I watched him coming every day. I watched him failing every day. Not once, not dozens of times, but to the extent that every one of us must have said no. Yet, every morning he returned because each failure taught him something precise for the next attempt. A burnt filament taught him what did not work. A cracked glass taught him patience and pressure or the quiet fragility of physics. Those broken bulbs stopped being trophies. They became textbooks. And when that first steady glow finally appeared, it was not a miracle. It was accumulated wisdom. Today, I want to begin there because failure is not the opposite of success. It is one of the unseen threads that leads to it. We grow up listening stories. There is a dream, there is a struggle, and finally the victory. Even the schools repeat the same story. Good marks, good applause, and earn fame. We start believing every effort will give you victory. The student who champions every test today, or the most successful person today, whomever you see today, might have failed multiple times in their life. When my school introduced a new interdisciplinary curriculum, we all thought of or dreamt of colorful projects and empowered teachers and proud parents. But what we got in return was frustration, resistance, and we can feel that failure somewhere. But that sting, that uncomfortable space is where the real learning begins. Years ago, a 9th grade girl was almost going to give up. She was struggling with the emotional, social, academic struggles. She decided or she thought that she is going to give up. But we did not stop in believing her. Step by step, she rebuilt. Step by step, she came back. And after a few years, she passed the board exams. It was not because learning was easy for her. It was because she started believing not to give up. Today, when she walks into my office, many a time, she used to say, "Sir, if school wants my help, I am there." Someone who was going to give up is now started contributing. That is failure can teach us. Her journey reminds me that failure are not the end. They are teachers. They show us resilience, patience, and they remind us that with encouragement and belief, every child can rise again. This is why I believe failure should never be feared. It should be accepted as a part of the learning process. Unlearning success means shifting focus from chasing visible achievements to growing the inner qualities that truly last. It keeps excellence, but changes how success is measured. External metrics like marks, titles, applauses are neat, visible. They are loud, but dangerously incomplete. Internal metrics like curiosity, resilience, and humility that teach us are quieter and harder to measure. Yet, they are what sustain a person over a lifetime. Unlearning success means letting go of the idea that every failure is a judgment, but to see failure as information that help you improve your process. In a traditional classroom, failure is hidden. It's feared. So we aim only to perform, not to grow. But in a transformed classroom, failure is studied, discussed, and used as a raw material for learning, turning the room into a stage of performance to a place of experiments. Walt Disney, everyone knows about him. He was working in a newspaper. He was fired from the office because he lacked imagination and creativity. Today we know that where he stands. So Walt Disney's empire was not built on one big idea. It was built on a decade of small, humbling collapses that taught him how to build a world that would last. Another person, before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon, she was a single mother living in a small apartment, used to go to the next cafe where she sat down to write because she could not afford even a heater at her home. Multiple people, multiple publishers rejected her writings, thinking that they are too large, too long for the children to read. But she did not give up. She kept on revising. She kept on writing. And now we know that it is one of the most influential literature among the modern literature. Rowling's story is not just about magic. It's about endurance, rejection, and choosing not to close the notebook when the world say no. And finally, we can see Robert Frost, a beloved, or we can say the most loved American poet. His life was not easy. The journey was not easy. All his writings were rejected by the American press or the publishers. And being fed up, he decided to move his family from his own motherland, America, to England. The situation was not different. All his writings were rejected. But he kept on writing, kept that resilience. At night, he will sit down to write, and during the day, he will work odd jobs for his survival. And when the first book finally accepted, not because he changed his voice, but because he grew into it. The poet who wrote, road not taken, know it very well. Sometimes we have to take a different route when you see no one is walking with you. What failure teaches that succeed hides? Success hides. Failure is not just the result, it's a classroom. In this classroom, failure quietly teaches 5 powerful lessons to reach higher. First one, R, resilience. Failure is going to teach you what is resilience. When you fall, you start getting up, rise again and again. No matter how many times you fell down, how many times you failed. And E stands for empathy. You start believing or you start understanding other struggling people because you had also been there once. And authenticity. We start dropping the mask of perfection, but start making what that honest or what we really are. And curiosity, it is going to teach us curiosity. Each time you fail, you start thinking of new ways. What is to be done next time? How I can do it in a better way? And finally, H stands for humility. We discover that we have limitations. We start seeking help from others. So this is how that reach works. Now, what are the takeaways of failure? Let failure teach you the acts B. Acts. Appreciate effort, not just result. When we start appreciating the efforts, we know what process they followed. And if you are going to look only at the result, you may be neglecting the efforts or the process the person followed. So please start appreciating the effort, not just the result. Second, Create try again calendar. If you failed, no problem. But schedule another trial in the next week, how you are going to do it. So create a kind of try again calendar. And T stands for treat failure like a knot. It is going to tell you what went wrong. And also the failure will teach you, or will try to see that what the failure is trying to show me. And share failures with the trustworthy people. Not with the people who are going to demotivate you or criticize you, but with the trustworthy people who are going to encourage your process and the efforts. And finally, build systems of repair. Make it normal to correct, improve, and restart. And when someone in your life, a student, a child, or a colleague, when they fail it, do not rush to judge them, but ask two simple questions to them. What did you learn this time? What are you going to do next? These two simple questions will turn those full stops into comma and end into a new beginning. So today, I don't want you to remember Edison's bulb. I want you to remember your own bulb, the one you are still building. For some of you, it may be exams and careers. For others, it may be raising a family, or leading a team, or starting something new. Whatever the stage of life you are in, your bulb will flicker. Your bulb will fail. It will frustrate you. But if you keep coming with curiosity, with resilience, with humility, it will glow. And when it does, it won't just light your path. It is going to light the path of others who are struggling in darkness. Because the world does not want perfect people. The world needs brave ones. It needs communities that rise after falling, leaders who repair the broken societies, and communal harmony, families and schools that keep trying until the glow appears. If we carry that spirit forward as students, as leaders, as parents, and as citizens, then we will not just chase success. We will pass on courage. We will pass on resilience. We will pass on light. That is how we will change the world, one bulb at a time. Let us remember, if success opens the door of fame and opportunities, failure opens our eyes to the strength we did not know we had. Thank you.